This is James Menendez with NewsHour live from the BBC. We're going to head to Australia now and the southern state of Victoria, which has become the first in the country to ban specifically the displaying of the Nazi swastika. The state government passed a law under which anyone who puts up a Nazi flag or carries a swastika banner faces up to a year in prison or a $15,000 fine. As in many other countries around the world, Australia has seen a rise in far-right extremism and anti-Semitic crimes in recent years. I've been speaking to Dvir Abramovich, chair of Australia's Anti-Defamation Commission, which led the campaign for this new law.
It's been a long and faithful journey, and I have to admit that I did shed some tears of joy when I watched the Parliament pass this glorious law. This is a triumphant and uplifting moment, I think, for every Victorian. And the bells of respect, equality and freedom are ringing loud today in our state. This was really a moment for the history books of Australian democracy.
You said it had been a long journey. How long have you been campaigning for this? And what started the campaign?
I've been spearheading this national campaign for the last 5 years. I think the trigger moment, or sort of the wake-up call, was when a few years ago we broke the story about a flag being flown in the small country town of Beulah here in Victoria. And I think everybody was shocked, not just by seeing, this ultimate emblem of evil flying in the skies of our state, but I think what was more startling was that the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists who were weaponizing this evil symbol had the law on their side. So we recruited many stakeholders, we spoke to as many community and ethnic groups, and we made a very strong and compelling case to the government that a democracy is not just about the rights that we have, it's also about what we're willing to tolerate as a nation. And I think, that long road led to yesterday.
Why has there been this apparent surge in far-right extremism and neo-Nazism in Australia, do you think?
I think we have a resurgent and emboldened hardcore Hitler worshippers, final solutionist movement here, who has decided in a very conscious and deliberate way to take their online activity into the real world. And we've seen it in rallies, we've seen them marching with the Nazi swastika across the state and also in other parts of the country. They are determined to recruit like-minded individuals. And they feel, especially over the last 2.5 years with the pandemic, they've been able to insert themselves into the conversations. They've hijacked anti-vax, anti-lockdown groups to promote their poisonous and dangerous ideology. In fact, ASIO, which is our intelligence security services, have labeled neo-Nazis as one of the greatest national threats that we have. So we are now facing a tsunami of anti-Semitism and of white supremacist activity in this country.
And of course, given that much of that activity is on the internet, is underground, I just wonder, to what extent this ban on the swastika will curb that, or is it just about the symbolism of saying, look, this is not acceptable?
It's also, I think, striking at the very heart of what the neo-Nazi movement celebrates, which is the ideology of the Third Reich. These are people who dream of a Fourth Reich and of installing an Australian Hitler. And for them, this symbol is a rallying cry. And this is signaling that, first of all, neo-Nazism will never find a refuge in our state and in this country, but also that we are watching them, that we are not going to put up with them using this in the very heart of our community. On another level, it is honoring not just the sacrifice that the Australian soldiers in the Second World War made, helping to defeat the Third Reich, but also honoring the 6 million Jewish victims and millions of other victims murdered by the Nazis and the survivors.
And just finally, do you expect it to be rolled out by other states so that it covers the whole of the country?
We are very, very pleased that New South Wales will be passing a similar law next month, we hope. We've also had very strong indications that the Queensland government and the Tasmanian government will take the higher moral road. So Australia will be, in a sense, the leading light amongst Western democracies in sending the unmistakable message that this is a problem from hell that we can't run and hide away from.
Dvir Abramovich, chair of Australia's Anti-Defamation Commission.